Hello everyone, this is Professor Hill. This is a short video for our class, Introduction to Philosophy 1301 here at St. Philip's College. This is the short condensed version of the class for Summer 1, and today's Friday, June the 14th, 2019. It's the last day of our first week in what is only a 5-week course, so it's going to be fast. And it also means that two things, one of which is we had the first assignment, which was just the introduction and welcome, but it was designed to get people to go through, introduce yourself, and then read through the comments, and read through it and comment on your classmates. The reason I asked you to do that was to comment on at least two of your classmates, was we're trying to establish this pattern for what we're going to do with all of the discussions, including the first one, Sunday night. You'll see in the assignment section an assignment that takes you right to a discussion. And what I want you to do is read through the case study, in this case, the first question, right out of the chapter 1 in our book about philosophy by Wolf. And I want you to answer those questions, and once you do that, post that into the discussion. So just copy and paste it into that discussion. And once you do that, once you make your contribution, then you should be able to see other folks, your classmates, read through them, comment on at least two. That's going to be the system we're going to use every Sunday and Wednesday for the next couple of weeks until we get to the end, Wednesday, July the 10th, 2019, which will be here before you know it. So I'm going to try to get the rest of the discussion questions up so you'll be able to see them. I'm working on those right now. And but I did go through, grade the first section, the first assignment, which was the welcome and introductions. And again, I just had to make sure everybody got into the rhythm. And again, just for the record, if you don't complete the assignment, meaning you post but you don't comment on two, you comment maybe not at all or just on one, what I did at the beginning here was to circle back and say, hey, look, you haven't completed the assignment yet. Please figure this out. This is how we're going to do it. The first one's relatively simple and short, but they're going to get more complex as we get deeper into the book and into the chapters to come. So I just want to make sure that we got the pattern down now. That'll serve us well because, again, it's a short class. Been trying to respond to the messages through Canvas, little problems with the book or the first assignment, little second assignment, that kind of stuff. If you do have any questions, let me know. I'm always happy to respond. And I'm also going to try to walk through a little bit more of the content as we go along as well, so that we're also talking about some of the key concepts of the book as we go along. As you'll see, first of all, there's just a big focus on Socrates. So I went ahead and I wanted to give us some context around that. For the last 2 days, I've been talking about Guns, Germs, and Steel, which gives us a big picture about why it begins in ancient Greece. And I also wanted to talk about not just the Guns, Germs, and Steel, but also about the kind of the European focus. Maybe that's the reason we're hung up on having every intro to philosophy book begin with Socrates. That raises some interesting points as well about diversity and about our thinking and our understanding of philosophy and what it is. But as I said yesterday, and as the book goes to great length, think about it this way. Keep coming back to philosophy, and this particular course is going to be about two things: me and my world. We're going to try to better understand those things. So, that being said, especially as we get into epistemology, which is about knowledge and how we know what we know about ourselves and the world, and then we're going to get into metaphysics, that's the one right after that, which is also about what's real and what's not. Or said in another way, how do I know what's real about me? Or how do I know what's real about the world around me? And we're going to have a couple of different examples from that. And I just want to put one out there. We're going to spend some time talking about ourselves and how we know things when we get to epistemology. We're going to be talking about, for example, to kind of pin some of these things down, the age of the earth. We all live here on this planet. How do we know how old it is? How do we know where it came from? How do we measure the age of the earth? And why are there different different understandings of that. And what I mean by that is we have a scientific explanation for how old the Earth is. It's about 4.5 billion years old. I had a student in class who said, no, the world's only 6,000 years old. And I hadn't heard this before. So I said to her, why do you say that? Where did that come from? And she said, well, it comes from my faith tradition. It's my church says this. And I said, okay, but do you understand that there is a scientific explanation which is different? And she said, oh yeah, no, I get that. I said, okay, good. So it's not like we have to go through the science. You get that part. She said, yeah, it just differs from what my faith says. So given the choice between my faith and my understanding through science on this one question, I'm just going to go with my faith on this. And I said, okay. Now, that's an informed choice. But it raises a whole lot of questions. Not least of which is, is she free to believe that? Yes. Does that change how old the Earth is? No. And this is going to get right at the heart of what philosophy in our first chapter is about. We're trying to understand the nature of human beings and the nature of the universe, the nature of the world around us, me and my world. That example is both about her as an individual and her thinking and her religious beliefs, but then also about her understanding of the world and how there's this kind of objective knowledge about the age of the Earth, which is different than her subjective understanding or choice about it. And again, it raises all kinds of fascinating questions. Is she free to believe so? Yeah, sure, it's America. Is she free to say so? Yeah, freedom of speech. Does it make her right? No. It's not like she gets to have an age of the Earth that's different from my understanding of the age of the Earth. It doesn't work like that. It's not like you can just say, well, I'm going to choose to believe that 2 + 2 = 36. You might say that. You might want to hold that as an article of faith, but it doesn't make 2 + 2 = 36. It still equals 4. So we got to think about, and this kind of gets back to, again, the first chapter, which is, why do people think certain things? And about themselves and the world. And what are the implications of that? What does that mean for us? How does it affect me? What are the dangers of that? So my point in raising that example, and we're going to come back to it when we get to epistemology and to metaphysics. But right now, I want us to say, look, in chapter 1, at the beginning of this course, we're going to be assuming when we say we want to understand the nature of ourselves and the universe, we're going to take for granted that we're going to have a sincere, authentic desire to sort out, to have my head, the information and knowledge inside my head, match the way things really are. That I don't want a skewed or biased perspective. I don't want a source of belief. And we're going to have to talk about this when we get to epistemology, because we're going to make a distinction between scientific thinking and faith, which is a different thing. We're going to come back to that later. But for now, we've got to at least start with the presumption that, no, look, we're trying to get in our heads a good, clear understanding of the way things really are in terms of human nature and the nature of the universe. And if that's the case, that's our goal for this course. Okay? So, keep reading about Socrates. He's got a lot to say about justice in this particular chapter. We're going to circle back to that tomorrow as well. But that's for tomorrow, the 15th. And keep an eye on that calendar, because Sunday, that first assignment's due by midnight. So make sure you keep an eye on exactly where you are and what we're doing. So take care. Let me know if you need help. Bye-bye.